Hello adventurers, I'm Gray, and welcome to another Hytale blog update. Now, keeping up with the promises they made in the last set of updates, Hypixel Studios released a new one just a few minutes ago, and this time it's only been about 15 or so days since the last set of blog posts, so much more rapid than the months we had to wait last time. And if they keep up this pace, then that'll be very appreciated, because then we can constantly be getting new info, even if it's not huge. I like that we're getting some new stuff every once in a while. Now, this was very recently released, and I haven't read through it yet, but we're going to go through, we're going to see what they say, and I'll give some comments and opinions on it as we go. So, progress update. Hi, at the end of November, we published our first progress update, a smaller roundup of recent development work that included new biomes, farming, and some new creatures. In this post, we're going to give you a glimpse at some of the progress we've since made, including exciting changes to the scope and structure of adventure mode. We hope that these updates will become a regular way we communicate, and we're excited to reveal more of what we're working on. Okay, so this is going to be a very adventure mode structured thing, which is my favorite type of game mode, so hopefully it's good. First off, we want to say thank you again to the Hytale community. Your understanding response to our most recent development update has meant a lot to us, and your excitement about our first gameplay clip was great to see. Aww. It can be really nerve-wracking to reveal parts of the game before they're done, but your response has given us confidence that this new approach is the right one. However, please do continue to bear in mind that everything we're showing is work in progress and subject to change. This week marks 1 year since the announcement of Hytale. The journey we've been on since has been exciting, challenging, and even life-changing, and we owe all of that to the community. Whether you watched the trailer, posted about us, made a video, or sent us your fan art, your enthusiasm has given us the chance to become better developers and to raise the bar for a project that we're deeply passionate about. Now on with the progress update, starting with a closer look at one particular part of the gameplay clip. So, I haven't done the gameplay clip analysis yet like I was planning on doing. It looks like they might be doing a bit of that work for me. I've been super busy with finals and things like that. I still have one more as of this recording, but nothing will stop me from going into Hytale news. That is the most important priority. So, objective system. We're going to look at the objective system in detail here. And this is the gameplay clip that was first published in the graphics update post. I'm not going to play it because I already went over it in the last post, unless I really need to show something that they talk about. So, many of you noted the kill count that appeared in the top right of the screen after the combat encounter began. This is a basic example of Hytale's objective system, which plays an important role in your journey through adventure mode. And I did notice the objective system, and I believe I pointed it out before in past blog posts. Some of the earliest ones actually showed off, I believe, there was like a big boss guy and like a golem type thing, and they had a map that popped up. And on that map, they had like objectives on the side, and it looked like they were by the Quebecs, like different characters could give you objectives. So I guess this is a similar type of thing. So if we play this video right here, I can skip forward a little bit. You can see at the top right, it says Emerald Grove Ruins, killed the skeletons, 1 out of 12. It's basically a questing system that people would understand who play MMOs or any sort of RPG. So the objective system allows us to set specific goals when certain conditions are met. As a basic example, an objective may be established when a player enters a particular location, such as the ruins in the gameplay clip. Encounter prefabs like this feature hand-designed architecture and gameplay scenarios, structured challenges that complement the freeform exploration that you'll otherwise be engaged in. So I'm not sure, I think this might be a bit different from the quests that you get from characters, because I'm pretty certain you're able to get quests from different characters, and I guess those continue until you complete those. Like you talk to the character, you get that quest, and then you work on it. But these sort of things, this count here at the top right, kill the skeletons, that pops up whenever you enter the dungeon. And I'm not sure, I don't think it stays with you if you leave the dungeon without completing it. It's just a dungeon objective. So I don't know what award comes for it. Maybe we'll get into that in a little bit. But they can set specific goals to unlock certain things within a dungeon. And now we have a little screenshot here of a twerk encampment, it seems. They have watchtowers and they have patrols, and they have what looks like a central house. I mean, they really don't have any other houses, just the central house, but that's their house. In other cases, location-based objectives may be attached to points of interest that have a random element, such as the Trort Camp. In this case, the exact roster of enemies you face will vary, but the objective system will still provide you with a sense of what you need to do. For more on how prefabs are built and incorporated, check out this blog post from earlier. I already did a while ago. You can check that video out if you want. Sometimes an objective might be tied to an item, like treasure map or a bounty note that sends you off in pursuit of a specific foe. Objectives can be one-off missions, so they can form chains that require you to succeed at multiple stages of a challenge before receiving your reward. Okay, so they basically answer my question for me. Some are just simple one-step things. Some of them are long things that you go on a big adventure to do. We'll go into more detail about the kind of rewards in adventure mode in the future, but loot and faction reputation are both likely reasons for you to seek out these special tasks. This reminds me a lot of MMOs. I never played World of Warcraft. Like, this is probably reminding some people of that who played World of Warcraft in the past. The MMO I played in the past was Arctic's Entertainment's games, like Adventure Quest Worlds, that type of thing. And it's a different type of game than this, for sure, but it also had, like, quests that some of them are really simple. You just kill a couple things, get some loot, and turn it in. Other ones have long chains that have story and have cutscenes and all sorts of stuff going on. And some of them gain you faction points, where if you get your faction points up, you get more friendly with the villagers. You can buy certain items you couldn't before. So I feel like there's a similar sort of system going on here, and it's very inspired by that type of thing. And they're going to go over the rewards in the future. That'll be interesting. For now, though, it's just the basic objectives: kill the Trorks. It's basically guides that tell you what you need to do if you're lost, if you're uncertain. And if we zoom in, honestly, this is less zoomed in than just leaving it like this. Okay, so I'm trying to look for anything new in the inventory. It just seems like he has some food, he has some crops, some blocks, a pickaxe, of course, a bow and an axe, and a potion. So nothing too unique there. As with many parts of Hytale, our goal is for the system to be fully extensible. Server operators will be able to use it to structure their own challenges, and the system is fully compatible with cooperative play. Location-based objectives can be joined by any player who happens to be in the right area. So basically, you're not stuck doing quests by yourself, because this is a problem I saw sometimes in RPGs if they haven't, or MMOs, if they haven't set it up correctly, is where one player could get a quest, and then everyone else could get like different quests and just do random stuff, but it's not really, like, it's hard to share quests between players. So I guess their goal is to make this not a problem, or at least to minimize it as much as they can, so that people can work together as friends and do quests at the same time. So I'm guessing that what this means is if one player kills a skeleton, it would count as a kill for every player. Unless it only counts it for themselves, and every player would have to kill one. Say, like for the Chork thing at the top right, it says kill Chork 0 out of 2. So one player could kill one and would get one for them. But then one other player could kill one and get one for them, and then another player could do it, and then all the Chorks could be killed, and then no player would have finished the quest. So that doesn't really make sense. I think it would have to be shared between players. And my question is, would that increase the amount that you would have to kill? Because it might get too easy if you're in multiplayer, and everyone's able to do an easy quest together. At the same time, though, it might pose some problems to just have to increase the number every time. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work, but I'm sure they'll go into more detail about that in the future. So, moving on from here, we have a really nice photo. Look at this. Content progression update. So this is Zone 2, and it looks like there's several different areas in the zone. There's, of course, this nice grassy area over here on the right. Then we have the desert place, and then we have the what looks like a really desert area, really barren, dangerous. It gives off like a sort of danger vibe. It has bones of some ancient creature there, really huge, along with a dead structure in the middle. That looks bad. Along with like the mesa and stuff like that rising up with grass on top. It's a pretty nice sky view. I like this. So over the last few weeks, we've been testing a series of changes to adventure mode structure. In the past, we conceived of adventure mode as a journey through the zones in sequential order, so by the time you reach Zone 3, you'd be more powerful and better equipped than you were when you first set foot in Zone 1. We're rethinking this approach in order to encourage a less linear progression path. Now, the first 3 zones each contain content at multiple tiers of difficulty, along with appropriately scaling resources and rewards. Ooh. This means it's possible for your adventure to start in Zone 1, 2, or 3. We haven't settled on whether this will be random or a matter of player choice, and even the zone names themselves are yet to be finalized. No matter where your journey begins, you'll have the choice of establishing yourself in the starting region, moving to another zone, or even roaming between them. Okay, this is really interesting, because this means that they're changing the whole system of progression. Because in the past, they talked about the zones before, and I think I've thought about it before. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but it did seem quite linear. Like, you could only start in Zone 1, which is basically plains or forests, so you're limited to making your starter home in that type of biome. You don't have much of variety in it, but you have to go underground, get that loot, and then you move on to Zone 2, and then Zone 3, so on and so forth. But there weren't invisible walls or anything between the zones. Like, you could literally, it's a sandbox. You could walk to any zone whenever you wanted to. There's nothing stopping you. And that would be a little bit weird, because if it was the case where it was super linear, then you could go straight to Zone 2 without being ready for it and just get absolutely destroyed, and you have no say about it. Like, you won't be able to do anything. But you'd get annoyed, I'm sure, because it's not like anything was stopping you. And at the same time, what if you want to make your house in a snowy area or in a deserty area, but the game doesn't want you to because everything's way harder there? So I'm guessing they figured this out through playtesting or something along those lines, that it was a problem, that it was way too linear, and so they decided to change it up a little bit. However, notice that they only say zones 1, 2, or 3. So zone 4, which is basically the lava-based area, which already looked way more dangerous than the other zones, is more linear, it seems. It's more difficult. It's not one of the starting zones. In other words, there's still linearity going on here, and I'm sure that the game progresses way beyond zone 1, 2, or 3. There's still the zones that they haven't revealed to us yet. There's also other planets and all sorts of like portal dungeons and all sorts of stuff, and I'm sure that the story will progress way beyond zones 1, 2, or 3. In fact, I think zones 1, 2, or 3 will just be the starting areas, and that's basically it, where you go underground, you can get better loot, you can meet some civilizations, get some backstory, and then you'll progress beyond that once you feel equipped enough. So there's a mix of open world, sandbox, and linearity, which I think is a better mix than they had before, which was mostly linearity with some sandbox stuff. So that's pretty cool. They did say that the names themselves are even yet to be finalized, so I may have to forget all the names that I learned for these different zones so far. Not like they were too hard to remember anyway, but I still forget them all the time. Whatever you decide, you'll be able to find content appropriate to your power level. In the shot above, you can see a view of Zone 2 showing multiple different biomes, and you can probably tell which areas are likely to offer a more substantial challenge. Indeed. So, I'm guessing from right to left, it goes from easiest to most difficult. So, the grassy area is the easiest, I'm guessing. Though maybe the desert is, just because there's not much to do in the desert. I don't know. But I'm thinking the grassy area, like it has a couple ruins and stuff like that, and some structures that I'm assuming you can loot and get different equipment in. And I'm sure they wouldn't be too difficult to loot, because they don't look too huge or too difficult. And then you move on to the left, and then further to the left, and then that whole area at the left side, the barren waste area, looks like straight up danger. It looks really dangerous over there, so that'll be the hard area. Moving on, we have what looks like a little ruins with some skeletons on top, some basic guys. The tier of a particular area affects the type of prefabs you'll find there. Above, you can see a basic ruin in Zone 2, content appropriate for a player just starting out on their journey. Okay, so this is a starter type of dungeon where you can get basic loot and fight basic enemies, I'm guessing, and it's pretty small too. This one looks quite a lot larger though, so I'm guessing that there's a lot more involved here. This reminds me of like Minecraft mod packs, like remember Hexit had like dungeons and things like this. Here's a higher tier version of the same concept. Players who want to take on the undead occupants of the crumbling fortress will need to be well prepared. As encounters increase in complexity, so do the NPCs that inhabit them. While we've previously explored the concept of enemy classes, you can check out an example of Twerk subtypes in this blog from last year, we've been working on expanding this with a tier system of its own. Certain powerful enemy types will now only occur in high tier encounters. Other classes may appear in multiple tiers, but level up as they do so. Alright. Oh, and it's a skeleton mage. I don't quite remember all the names of the different enemies here, but this player seems to be throwing his spear at him, which I don't remember if they showed that before, if you could like throw spears and stuff, so this might be something new, I don't know. Or maybe I'm missing something, but pretty cool if you can throw your spears. I'm guessing you'd have to collect it again though, so it'd probably be a risky move, but it would probably deal more damage than just whacking them with your spear. Somehow. In this screenshot, the player's fighting an undead mage. These are slightly more advanced than your basic skeleton. You want to counter them at the lowest tier of difficulty, but they're not the deadliest foe you will encounter either. Okay. So this looks like a more involved fight. The player has better gear. The skeleton looks stronger, so if you look up here and look down here, he looks a little bit more intimidating. He has the crown, he has more clothes. He's in a dark building instead of just sitting on the outside or standing on the outside of some ruins. So this looks like a more serious battle. Here's what you may encounter at a higher tier of difficulty. A powerful variant of the same fundamental mage archetype with a more formidable appearance to match. Luckily, the player in the shot has also had some equipment upgrades too. These changes are still being tested by the team, but we're excited for the potential for the system to add variety and give players greater choice over the direction they take at the beginning of their adventure. The next step is to finish implementing similar content updates in Zones 1 and 3. So they're only done with Zone 2. So I guess that's why most of the screenshots were from Zone 2. But they're going to work on Zones 1 and 3 next, which include new prefabs and NPC types for a variety of factions, including Chorks and Outlanders. Expect to hear more about this in a future progress update. So, do the skeletons count as a type of faction, or are they just like enemies? Because they seem to be pretty involved. Like, they have different types of skeletons, they all do different things, they stay at different places. But I'm guessing that they can't be friendly. The skeletons are just bad guys. So, I don't know. Chorks and Outlanders are more stereotypical factions you might think of, though they're also pretty bad from what I've heard, or at least stupid in the Chorks case. So we'll see how this goes. There's another picture of torques and things like that. I do like the carrot they have hanging on that rope there. Like a little trap for something. For creatures, I guess. For bait for animals. While we're on the subject of NPCs, more new creatures! In the distant region of Orbis, a new aquatic menace has emerged, complete with eerie bioluminescent markings. I don't know why I said it like that. We have skull piranhas, or something along those lines. I like their swirly eyes. These guys seem a little bit menacing, honestly. Like, deep ocean type creatures, sharp teeth. I'm guessing that they're probably aggressive. They probably attack you when you swim in the deep ocean. And they seem like they would work in groups as well. This is all speculation. But who knows, maybe they could just be friendly fish who just use this as a camouflage to scare off predators. I don't know. I don't know how they work. In our last progress update, we showed how the Curse of Undeath can produce some truly twisted beings. However, not every victim of this malign magic is quite so monstrous. Oh boy, I'm excited. Is this going to be some like NPC faction of people who have been cursed or something? Oh. I see. It's dinner. Alas, noble chicken, even in death you serve. Or are served, as the case may be. You know, this would go well for Thanksgiving. You should have released this a couple weeks ago. That wraps up this progress update. The team is going to take some time off over the holidays, so you can expect the next post from us in January. Thank you again, and happy holidays from the whole Hytale team. Happy holidays to you guys as well. I really appreciate the blog posts you guys have been putting out right before the holidays. And honestly, this was a pretty substantial blog post. It ran longer than I expected it to. And that's because I find the content to be really interesting. I like adventure mode. That's my favorite type of game mode. And I play survival, like vanilla survival a lot in Minecraft, and also some modded stuff as well. I just like to build, to explore, to do stuff that I choose to do. And this, it looks like they've been changing a lot of things to make it more interesting to do so. So they've talked about, just a quick review, the objective system, about how your progression will go through the different dungeons and how it will guide you along there and give you rewards for completing these objectives. And they can either be a chain or a simple quest. Along with that, you can do them with friends. There's also the whole change to the way adventure mode is run, making it less linear and allowing you to start in several different zones depending on which environment you prefer. And I'm guessing you can go back and forth between like 1, 2, and 3 whenever you want to, whichever one you feel is interesting. And then you can use what equipment you had in the last zones to take on the challenges in the next one, which could make it really easy if you're, say, going from the end of Zone 2 to the beginning of Zone 1. But who knows, maybe there'll be specific stuff in each of the zones that make them unique each time you go to them, even if you finished another zone before you go to that one. Okay? And then we have these different dungeons of monsters that scale up, depending on which one you go to, along with monsters that only appear in certain dungeons, like boss monsters, more powerful creatures. And then we have, of course, the new creatures that they have down here, the piranhas and this guy. This malignant chicken. The cursed chicken. The chick-curse! Okay, so I think this was a pretty nice blog post, and if they keep up this pace and just give us new blog posts at least once every couple of weeks, maybe once a month, like one in January, one in February, I think that's enough to keep us happy and to keep us aware of kind of what they're working on. But do keep in mind, everything is subject to change. Take everything with a grain of salt, because I feel like people didn't put enough onto that statement when they said initially that everything could change, because they said that, and then they changed the entirety of adventure mode. And that just means that literally anything, even the changes that they showed off in this blog post, could be completely reversed or changed at any time depending on how they feel like it. We won't know what will be in the final product until we get the final product, until the game is released. And who knows when that will be. Sometime at the end of 2020, maybe with a beta, 2021 with a full reveal, full game. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And even in beta, the game is likely to change and all sorts of stuff is going to happen. So that's just game development for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video though. And if you want to keep up with the Hytale news, I'll be here always talking about the next Hytale news update on the channel. So subscribe, hit that like button, and click that bell if you want to be notified of all the recent releases. Or don't, because I know I record a lot of random Let's Plays as well. But Hytale is my passion, is what I'm most interested in. Heck, I'm reading about this instead of doing my finals studying right now, so wish me luck on the finals. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all on the next adventure.